Faith Dialogue, a public affairs program at the crossroads of religion and life, a series highlighting the cultural and social interaction between the worshiping and religious communities in and around the capital city. Austin Faith Dialogue is brought to you by the Austin Metropolitan Ministries in cooperation with KTVC. Join us now in Austin Faith Dialogue. The play's the thing to catch the conscience of the king. This verse from Hamlet is highlighting the drama catching the conscience of us all. Hello, I'm Richard Thompson, pastor of Central Presbyterian Church, and your host for this edition of Austin Faith Dialogue. And today we have an opportunity to turn our attention to the dramatic, particularly to the theatrical scene in our city. There's a rich variety of theater groups within our community, but one in particular offers a training program for young people. It's the Zachary Scott Center of Performing Arts. With us to interpret this, some folks from that. Elota Payton, the executive director of the Zachary Scott Theater Center. And with us to demonstrate the purposes, some young people who are getting in on the act. Kathy Doggett, Cara Oldak, and Joshua Prince. We welcome you all. And we're looking forward to getting in on the act, both in terms of some of the scenes that we're to see and also to reflect together on the theatrical community in Austin. Mm-hmm. And I think that as the executive director of the Zachary Scott, we maybe could just have you tell us a little bit about that program and how the young people happen to come to be involved in it.
Well, the program began a year and a half ago. It was sponsored by the Junior League of Austin, and we have had a children's theater program with adult actors performing for children for years, but felt that it would be really important to get teenagers involved in learning to act themselves. And actually, you're already in on the act because Central Presbyterian and Terrytown Methodist as well have sponsored spaces for the classes to happen, and we're greatly appreciative of that.
Well, we're delighted for that because one of the things that we are in a tradition on it, because theater had its origins in the churches of the Middle Ages and has a special meaning, I think, in the modern world.
Absolutely.
And what is it that you see, for instance, as the value of the program? Is learning skills of acting that's the main aspect of it?
I would say that's a significant part of it, is working on their skills, but at the same time, theater's often been called the revolutionary art because it really shows us our society and makes us reflect on what it is that we do as well as what other people do. And, you know, in terms of the adult theater program at Zachary Scott, a show like Glengarry Glen Ross might make people look at values in real estate and how people conduct business. And some of the scenes you're going to see the students do today are about values in junior high school and the world they live in.
Mm-hmm. And let's just to find out a little bit about what junior high are you in, Kathy?
I'm actually in elementary, but I'm in 6th grade at Bracker Woods Elementary.
I see. All right. And Cara?
I go to Fulmore Junior High.
What grade?
6th.
All right.
I go to Fulmore Middle School, and I'm in the 7th grade.
And Joshua, you've been in this program just this year, first time?
Yes.
Did you ever have any acting lessons before coming into this?
Not really. I've had experience with my school and from West Virginia, but I've never been to Zachary Scott Theater before.
I see. And you just heard about it and decided that you wanted to get some training.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think that what we'll do is we've had some acts that have been prepared for us today, and Elota will be prepared to do a little reacting if these young people would do some acting in regard. I think the first scene has to do with the shopping center and a couple of friends who have just entered into that particular area.
You've got to see this dress. You're gonna die.
Look. Oh my God.
Isn't it outrageous?
I love it. I just love it.
I know. The way the waist goes in and the sleeves puff out.
And the color. That is my favorite color. You look so great in that.
I know. My mom wouldn't let me get it.
Why not?
She says it's too tight, too bright, too short. You look like a tramp in it.
A tramp?
I know, that's what she calls them.
Jeez, my mom wouldn't say that. She'd probably say like stupid or something.
I know, what taste. Ooh, look at those shoes.
Who'd wear those things?
I know someone who would.
Who?
Brian the Weird. I think he even has a pair.
Probably wears it to gym with his skinny little legs and brown socks.
Don't make me barf.
Come on, let's sit down. My feet are killing me.
My braces are killing me.
They still hurt?
Yeah, didn't you ever have braces?
Yeah, but I got them off in 6.
Lucky. Oh my God, oh my God.
What? What is it?
Don't look.
Where?
Over by the yogurt place. Bruce and Steven.
So, I thought you liked Steve.
I do, but he doesn't know I got braces yesterday.
Oh, come on. He's going to see you on Monday at school anyway.
Well, I didn't want him to see me yet.
Oh, great. Now they're going up the escalator.
Phew. That was a close call.
Uh-oh.
What?
They just ran into Stephanie and Tina.
What are they doing?
Nothing. They're just talking.
Let's go.
But I thought you didn't want to see your braces.
I changed my mind.
You're weird.
Those last words, "you're weird," are the ones that I would like to pick up on, because did you hear them call somebody else weird in that
Yes.
story? And what did you get out of that they were saying there?
Well, it's, you know, the heavy-duty value judgments of other kids not looking right in school.
Who was it that was that you were talking about in school?
Brian?
Brian the Weird. Now, I mean, do people talk like that about other people in your school?
Fortunately, some of them do.
Mm-hmm. In other words, they're passing judgment on them and demeaning them and all that kind of thing. That was part of why you brought that in? All right. And I also, Loda, did you get the idea about the fact that they were kind of caught up in their appearance?
Oh, absolutely. I think the commercialization of the look, even for younger children, is getting just more and more prevalent. You know, I don't ever remember knowing what name brand clothes were until I was out of college, really. And now it's like in, you know, elementary school. If you don't have the right jeans or the right shoes, then it's hard to be accepted. It's tough on kids.
Did you all talk about the right jeans in that particular incident, or certain kinds of
Well,
apparel?
she was like showing me the dress and it had to have like peer approval of whether or not it would look good or not.
Mm-hmm. And it really it mattered a lot whether the other kids were going to think that you look right. And now, is that just a girl's thing, Joshua?
No.
I mean, to be accepted and to be considered to be with the fellas, I mean, what do you have to do there to be
Well,
approved?
These days, I think the men's ego are a whole lot higher than what the women's are, you know, because things change, you know, and you know, these days men are just as worried about how much they look just as much as girls do.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, people may think that it's sort of a girl's thing to want to look dressed up and so on, but the boys just as much.
Just as much.
Uh-huh.
I think 100% much.
Okay. Well, now in doing this, there was something else that did you pick up something else that they were bringing out with that scene?
About wanting to look good in front of the boys?
Yes. And the braces.
Oh, yes.
The braces. What's wrong with braces?
Well, I feel that these kids thought that when you got braces, it just totally changed your looks, and now they're just not going to pay any attention to us if we have braces.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're self-conscious about braces.
totally.
Yeah.
That's heartfelt, Kathy. Did you wear braces?
I wore a retainer.
Okay.
So
And you were self-conscious about that?
definitely.
Well, now, one of the things I think that is, we talk about values. What is it that's better than being conscious of the clothes and hung up about the braces? What is it that you think, what are the good values that you're trying to bring out of this?
I'd say, you know, it's really the person you are, not the way you look. And unfortunately, these kids don't feel that way, but some kids do.
Mm-hmm. And you're trying to bring out the fact that you should feel good about yourself and not worry that much about what other people think. Was that one of the thoughts that you had in mind, Cara?
Well, about
Feeling good about yourself and not worrying so much about peer pressure? Was that the...
I think that's the main issue that's trying to come forward about it.
Do you think if you can laugh about it, it makes you lighten up about it?
Yeah, she was teasing about her about being weird about, you know, being so conscious about her braces. She's going to see the guy at school the next day on Monday.
Yeah.
But even in the bigger picture, you doing this scene, so you can go, yeah, this happens. You know, yeah, we do this. Maybe makes it easier because you're less in it. You kind of can stand back from it a little.
You know, humor is one of the things that as a minister of a church, I've learned that people who can laugh at themselves I think that's like the grace of God that enables you to say, listen, I don't take myself too seriously. And I tell the folks in my church, I said, angels can fly because they take themselves lightly. And that's, in a way, I think there's humor that comes out in what you do here is a sign of that grace. Now we have, I think, a second example of an issue that comes up with young people in terms of boy-girl relationships. And I think that Cara and Joshua are going to bring us just a little bit of the feeling and the scene of that.
Hey, Don, what's up? What's wrong with you?
Take your books. I don't want them.
What's your problem?
Oh, come on. You know what the problem is.
No, I don't know what the problem is. Would you just tell me?
Last night at the game, Karen, my best friend.
It was only a joke.
Oh, I don't call asking someone out on a date a joke.
I'm sorry, okay?
Yeah, right.
I really am sorry.
Look, I'm sick of your little explanations, okay?
Well, what else am I supposed to do, huh?
What about last time at the party, on Halloween, when you said you were so drunk you couldn't tell what you're doing?
I was drunk, and we've been through this so many times.
So tired of it, okay?
Thank you. To him at that point, just even the silence of it was that you were confronted by your lying. You were, this was, I think, was part the point of your relationship with her here, is you hadn't told her the truth.
That's right.
Did she put you on the spot?
Definitely.
And what is it that you want to say as far as, do you care about her? Were you mindful of her feelings?
I care. My character does care about her. I do too, anyways. What I think is that he just couldn't make up his mind if he wanted to go with her or her best friend.
Have you ever noticed that when sometimes you get two different impulses that are just going in opposite ways, you just feel stymied, and it paralyzes you in a way. And I think that this scene brings out to me how being confronted like this, and he had these mixed feelings. It was a kind of a Hamlet-like paralysis. And in your productions that you've done with both youth and adults, that dilemma of having to face the truth, you find that recurring? And
in fact, that's often what a play is basically about. Many times in the script of a well-made play, the character has to finally acknowledge that there is some secret, whether it's a secret they've kept from other people or actually a secret they've kept from themselves. And what the play is about the revelation of that secret. And then afterwards, if it goes beyond that, what they're going to do about it.
And the secret may be just something too shameful to...
Yes.
And like an Oedipus.
Yes. Or Streetcar Named Desire, Blanche's history back in wherever she came from.
All right. Well, let's talk about truth as an element that relates to young people and relates to the plays that are done that are classical. I mean, it kind of bridges the gap between the past and the present. I have a feeling that one of the difficulties that we have in, I mean, like, this is on television, so I'll have to say that this is a critique of our own medium, that appearances are not always the reality. And that people who watch television have to pinch themselves to really think, now, is this the way things are, or is this just like a slice of life?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in the theater, where you have a chance to take a plot and develop it and to probe down, is that one of the reasons you're in, like, live theater rather than in media in some other way?
That's certainly one of the reasons. I also find it just tremendously exciting, because the real thing that makes a live experience different is that you have the audience, and the audience adds another dimension. I'm sure you know that as a minister, that
Right.
you can get a different response from a different congregation with the same sermon, and just get a profoundly different impact. But one of the things this scene makes me think of, I really wonder about Josh's character. Like, was it sort of an accident that he asked this girl out? You know, like maybe she came up to him at the game and they were joking around, and he sort of said something and maybe fell into it. That's actually, in my mind, the history of this scene. So here he is stuck, and all of a sudden he's looking like the bad guy. But we get into fixes sometimes accidentally, and then what do you do? Do you hurt the other person, or do you hurt, you know, the character that Cara is playing?
Well, in a situation like this, you do hurt your partner, and it's, when telling the truth, you know, it's not as hard as on your partner, because you know that they're serious, and you know that they're serious, and
It's serious because if you're hurting somebody, it gives you the guilty feeling. And I also had the feeling that you were getting caught in one lie piled on top of another lie. I remember back during the Watergate scandal that, you know, it wasn't just having tried to cover it up to begin with, but in order to keep it covered up, there had to be cover-ups of cover-ups. I don't know if you had any of that same kind of feeling in just a small scene like this, but I think it's the experience that anybody has that gets into kind of a tangle or a web of falsehood. And how did you feel, Cara, in this particular scene? Did you think that he was trying to show some concern for you? Did that come across at all?
Well, if he was asking the girl on the date in the first place, I mean, I know I would get very upset if that would happen to me. And so he got what he deserved for doing that, you know.
You were glad to give it to him, huh? Yeah, but not too forgiving.
Yeah, you don't want to be lied to.
Yeah, he should have thought about what he did before he started the whole thing.
Well, we have one other scene that we'd like to use as a demonstration of what the Zachary Scott program is about. And before we do that, I think it's important to recognize just what a active theatrical scene we have in this capital city of Texas.
Very active.
Could you just kind of describe it for us briefly?
Well, there is just a tremendous amount of theater in Austin. There are a number of really talented people who came to UT and went to school and decided they loved Austin and wanted to stay, and they're working in all kinds of venues. Capital City Playhouse down on 4th Street does some wonderful productions. Michelle Giroshi has been a real guiding light there for a long time. Jim Fritzler and Big State Productions. Amparo Garcia and Migration Performance Company. Live Oak, Don Toner, and then of course there's the Paramount and the PAC that bring through road productions, and Jason Williams, Greater Tuna. So there's just a tremendous amount of theater in this city.
So the university has something to do with it, and then also it seems to me that Austin is known as the progressive country music capital, and the arts otherwise. It all kind of feeds together.
Definitely it does. And I think it has to do with the fact that there's, I think, a real shift going on in theater right now. I was talking about Secrets earlier, that in and Tennessee Williams particularly, the whole plot may be that there's a secret, and at the end you see the secret revealed, and that's the end of the play. And there's a big shift going on, what the artistic director at Zachary Scott, Alice Wilson, and I call transformational theater, which is to go beyond the secret and look at how we can heal our lives once the secret has been revealed.
All right. So that, some plays will do that more than other plays?
Yes, some plays definitely do that more than others.
Can you think of an example of where you not only have it's strong on diagnosis, but also strong on healing?
Well, this is an older play, but The Diary of Anne Frank, for instance. I mean, that's a play about tremendous evils done to people in the world. And at the same time, there's that incredible belief, as Anne says at the end of the play, I still believe that people are really good at heart. That makes us want to believe that in spite of all the ills of mankind, there is hope for humanity.
So it's not despairing?
No.
There's a tragedy, but
yes.
you don't leave the theater just feeling depressed
because here's this, I mean, the most devastating circumstances you can possibly imagine, the Holocaust, and yet here's this young girl's spirit just shining through.
Okay. I have to admit that the theater of the absurd, as a kind of a predominant element in the theatrical world today, I think has served a purpose, because the universe is full of absurdity. And you'd have to just close your eyes to think that crazy things don't happen to people, and things that don't make any sense, and all that kind of stuff. But somehow you have to leave the theater feeling like that it's being put back together in some way.
Well, the Greeks had a word for it, catharsis.
Okay.
That you go through some kind of profound emotional experience with the character, and then after going through that intense emotional experience, you have a sense of relief. You have a sense of some kind of closure on the experience.
And cleansing.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, we don't want to set you two young people up for Greek-like theater at this point, but I think maybe we can anticipate a little catharsis as we turn to still a third area of young people's issues, and this is sibling rivalry. I believe this is between two sisters, and we're going to have Kathy and Cara demonstrate this for us.
Dana! 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 Dana!
What?
Will you make me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
Do it yourself.
Please, I can't make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Oh, come on, you're not a baby anymore. I mean, you're 6 years old.
But I can't use the knife.
Do you think I really care?
Please. Please, with sugar on top and whipped cream and a cherry and chocolate sauce and
No.
Well, then can we play ball, please? Outside? Come
Why
on.
don't you just go play with Becky or play with your dolls or do something?
I played with Becky and my dolls this morning.
Then play with them again this afternoon.
Come on, please, please.
Just leave me alone.
Come on, please.
You're always bothering me. You never give me any privacy at all. Just leave me alone for once, okay?
No privacy. Now, Cara, you sound, as an older sister, you seem to be resentful of your younger sister trying to take your time and your attention. And were you speaking out of some personal experience of that sort, or
Well,
just making it up?
I am the older sister in my family, so I have a little brother, and he nags me a lot of the time.
I see.
So I was able to relate to the character in that way.
Do you happen to be a younger sister by any chance,
I
Kathy?
do.
This is a real character part for you, then. You know what it's like.
so, yes.
Well, now, the thing that I think would be interesting to our viewers is How is it that you all get into the act? I mean, what do you do, or what kind of instruction have you had about how to create these parts and to know how to interact and so on?
Well, I feel that in order to get into the part, you have to really think about the feelings that each of us are having. I really want some attention, but she's really tired of me. She's tired of me, and so that's what she has to go on. And I have to go on, well, no matter what, I want her attention. And I'm going to beg for it until I get it, or until she really...
So you have to, I mean, you were playing a 6-year-old there. So you had to put yourself back into that situation. And do they give you some techniques as to how to get into another person's character?
Well, what's easiest for me is that I try to get the character that I'm playing and then relate some of the things that we have that are alike, that we share in common. And once you're able to get those things that you have in common with the character, you can bring those out more. Since I'm the older sister, I was able to be able to play that character better, since I knew how I would be able to feel.
Have you, Joshua, have you found that you draw upon your own experience? I mean, in order to play a character that's not you, but you nevertheless have to take something that's happened to you as a basis of expressing that?
Well, I did one time how to play a character that was not me at all, but I did some research. When I found out my character is totally different from me, I jotted down notes like, okay, my character's this, my character's that, and I figured I'm into acting, and I can't let things that are totally different from me get in my way.
Yes. So you have actually had to do some research and to go outside of yourself in new ways. And I think that we have had to go outside of the usual parameters of our program today to include you young people, but it has been a great joy and privilege to have you share your acting skills with us. And we'd like to have our audience today recognize that both in the dramatic sense and in working through the issues facing young people today, we've been helped by Eloda Payton and by Kathy Doggett, by Joshua Prince, and for Cara. And for their participation, I'm Richard Thompson, thanking them and thanking you for joining us. Be with us next time